Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Fanatic Forum. I'm your Fanatic and host, George Bueller. Hope you all are having a good week out there so far. Here in Kentucky, we actually had some decent, it was like a little cool. Then, like, the end of the week started out kind of like nice. Like, today is like almost wore shorts. So, been somewhat mild around here so far. So, that's a good thing here. Of course, we got a fun show tonight talking about the rivaled history of TV versus movies. Going to hit a lot of aspects on that. And of course, we got to do this on here. I can't do this without my partner, my brother from another mother, Mr. Manhammer himself. What is shaking, sir?
What up? I am a TV casualty tonight.
So like I said at the top before we started, I was like, you're going to get that Misfit song stuck in my head now. TV casualty, TV casualty.
And we just got muted on Facebook.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, there we're back. There we go. See? Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, we're quoting an actual song. Oh, well.
Yeah. Stupid algorithms.
Stupid algorithms. So you doing all right, brother?
I am doing great tonight. I got home, played with the dogs for a little bit, and then dozed off in my chair and woke up about 10 minutes to showtime. So I'm a little still trying to catch my marbles, so to speak.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I basically had a decent week, except for one little foible in video game land here. Because a new WB 2K25, basically, I don't know if it was like, like an update or whatever else came through. And there's some lost data I'm dealing with again here, because this happened with 24. Where basically an update comes through like late in the game, in the history of the game, and all of a sudden all my save data is gone, all my created character stuff is gone. Right. That happened this week. So I was like, "Yay! Thanks."
Wow, that sucks, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know. It's. I'll go through shit again, try to unlock more stuff. But on the other hand, though, the flip side, there was a DLC pack that came through, so this may have been what wiped out my save data, but it softened the blow. And I was looking at my phone to figure out who the fifth person was here. But so a old school, it's called a Saturday Night's Main Event DLC pack that includes Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff, the Junkyard Dog, Jesse the Body Ventura, Psycho Sid, and the person I couldn't remember, Tito Santana.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, that's a hell of a DLC pack there for some old school wrestlers. Like, that makes me happy. It's like, okay, it's like, well, I got to replay games. So it's like, I got Tito and JYD on a game now. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but can you even use that like hyper unlock thing? Or I know that like some versions of the game like come with like a unlock all the stuff with a season pass or whatever.
Well, you get that with a certain season pass, but like there's basically in the created character story mode, what they call My Rise. There's stuff you can unlock only in that mode, and then in the showcase mode, in this case, it's showcasing on the bloodline. There's stuff you can unlock in there. So there's all kinds of like regular wrestlers that you could just use in the regular play mode, the universe, whatever else that you can automatically unlock like that, or unlock arenas and belts, but it doesn't unlock everything in the game.
Okay.
So yeah. So I kind of looked to see if there was kind of a complete like unlock absolutely everything, because there's even stuff over in the My Faction, which is the card game part, which I played that in some of the previous ones. Like, I don't give a shit.
I tried messing around with that in like 2K23 and hated it, and just never touched it ever again. And I think that was the last 2 games I played was 23. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like any of the characters you're going to get in there, it's basically just alternate skins for existing wrestlers. Like, oh, here's John Cena in a green t-shirt, or here's Undertaker looking like an action figure, stuff like that. So it's like,
right.
You're not getting like actual new wrestlers or any kind of like, whatever others. It's like you're just getting other various outfits for other people. It's like no,
Yeah.
I'm good. Yeah, I don't need 47 John Cena's. Thank you very much.
Right. Exactly.
Like there's even one like they've been on the past couple of years called Super Cena, where he's invisible and you could just see his clothing because you can't see me.
Oh,
So
gee. Yeah.
yeah, so you can
Well, at
see
least he still has something to wrestle.
yeah, like you can see his clothing and he's wearing his hat and his shoes and stuff like that. So you can see all that, but like the body itself is invisible. And then also his stats are completely 100% maxed out. So he's the strongest character on the game, even if you have a DLC guy that's maxed out. Like he'll be
Yeah.
stronger than that guy. So he's a challenge. But yeah, look, they have the Super Cena on the game.
I do kind of dig that though, to be honest. Like I like it whenever they have those like secret hidden wrestlers in
Mm-hmm.
games like that. Like you
Yeah.
remember how in like the old WWF Attitude and Warzone games where they hid
Uh-huh.
like other secret wrestlers in the creator wrestler
Oh
that you
yeah.
can make, like you could full on like dead ass make like Big Show in both of them. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Or even wrestlers
cool
from other
letters, yeah.
companies that you could make your own like WCW guys or whatever else, but sort of thing like that. Oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that.
But yeah, I was like dead ass specific to it though, like with like their specific move sets to it and everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, hell, basically since Lesnar's been kind of on the outs with the company, he's been one of those wrestlers. Like his move set, his taunts, everything else is in the game. Just he himself is not in the game, but you could make a Brock Lesnar in the game very easily.
Right.
Yeah. So like if you really wanted Brock Lesnar in the game, then there you go.
The things they will do to skirt controversy in these things.
Mm-hmm.
What is the loud?
Hang on. Bradley was up in the house. What's going on, sir? Says the strongest character doesn't even have a model. No, it's a joke because one of John Cena's taunts is that you can't see me. Like basically, like you're so beneath me, you don't even see me when I'm basically kicking your ass or in your face or whatever else. So to make an invisible John Cena, and then of course that means all the John Cena memes and stuff like that, where you like, oh, hey, John Cena in this family photo, something like that, but you don't see John Cena there. That's a
Right.
joke that he's invisible. So that's what that means, Brad. Anyway, your question, sir?
What were we talking about?
You said you were about to have a question or something.
Oh,
We were talking about the.
oh no, yeah, or no, we were talking. Yeah, I was just got lost thinking about like the idea of like not using rendering power to make the John Cena invisible
Oh
character.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, well, he did. The funny thing is, like, he's got an aura, so you can almost kind of see like a bit of like a ghostly outline,
Right,
sort of like
right.
the body. So, like some work was put into it because literally, it almost just kind of looks like they had like the model for it, and then you just hit the delete button on the flesh tone, and so you got this transparent John Cena, but like the clothing still moves, and even if you but you can still bust open Super Cena. And like blood will appear on his face, but
Right.
it's like
So it's
it's
like
on
an
this.
invisible man effect. Oh wow. Okay,
Mhm.
that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh man. Well, before we get to comic book reviews, I got something cool to show you guys here. So, of course, you guys know my day job is I work at Collaborating Comics, selling on our Whatnot page. So it's basically like a digital platform, and I've got a lot of customers on there, and a lot of those customers have been with me long enough they've become friends. And over time, there's basically you get to know each other and whatever else. Well, everybody that is one of my regular customers or has been on any show whatsoever knows I'm a huge It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia fan, right? Well, one of my buddies, Alejandro, aka Breakfast, sent me something really fucking cool. This is a Fisher Price Little People set of the
Fisher
game.
Price. That is that kills me.
And the great thing is, like, there's here's on the back, like Dennis is explaining the Dennis
The
system to
dead
everybody.
system. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
and stuff like
Ah!
that. And then, like, on the top of the box, oh, there's kitten mittens, and
Right.
look, there's an egg right there with Patty's Pub. There's a rat. There's Philadelphia. The bars behind it. There's all kinds of little references to the bar, but there's like
Yeah.
no mention no explanation of like who these people are, why there's a Fisher Price set of 5 adults in a bar,
Right.
anything along those lines. That's what's one of the great things about it. But of course, like Charlie is like he's in the Pepe Sylvia does not exist, so that's
Yeah,
basically he works in the
yes.
mailroom. Frank is referencing when they go to the Jersey Shore, and he's holding a rum ham. D is wearing the Philadelphia T-shirt with the flip cup, so that's basically when they do the rivalry thing. Dennis has got his Dennis system board there, and then we got Fat Mac.
That Mac.
Oh, I love it.
Wow.
So my buddy Alejandro, thank you very much, man. This is just, I don't even want to take it out of the box because I like the diorama behind it. You could perfectly see everybody. So I'm just gonna just put this somewhere, a place
I'm
of honor here.
Yeah, I'm not 9 times out of 10. I am a take a toy out of the package guy. And I mean, obviously you are too, because you've got yeah, your wall, obviously shows. But then there's ones that are special, and that packaging makes that one special just for the gags on it as
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
yeah,
like
it
Kit
really does. Yeah.
Mittens, and yeah.
I said they have the egg on there, and then have like a little cartoony version of Dennis explaining the Dennis system,
Yeah,
to the gang. It's like, oh, it's just, mm.
yeah, that makes that whole thing is the piece. It's not just the figures. That
It's
whole
the
thing
it's the it's the
yeah,
it's the whole as the filmmakers would say, it's the maison scene here. It's everything about
exactly,
it. So,
precisely.
hey, my buddy Ron is in the house. What is up,
Oh,
sir? Good to see you, brother. And Bradley said he's seen little people of that 190s rap group. Oh, Run DMC. Run DMC. Yes. Yeah, they have done a little people set for Run DMC as well. Yeah.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah, I see. Every now and then they'll do like different kind of like pop culture, so to get like older people who remember growing up with little people.
Right,
That's like,
right.
oh, this is kind of fun. I've got I've got my Kiss little people, or I've got my Sopranos little people, or I don't know if it is Sopranos set or not, but yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
I mean,
So
that knowing that they've done a Sunny set, I wouldn't put it past them. I could almost see it even. There. You could have like Tony and a wife beater. You could have
mm-hmm,
there. Obviously, you'd have to have a little Polly Walnuts.
mm-hmm.
What he had some kind of gimmick, didn't he? Polly Walnuts.
Yeah, you know what? I've never actually seen an episode of The Sopranos, so I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like one of the figures should be a dead hooker, just because I feel like from what I remember from The Sopranos, the dead prostitute was involved in some of it.
Well,
Uh,
I've got to have a little Steven Van Zant figure too. I'm not sure what character he played on the show, but I know he was on the series.
yeah.
So,
Did Moxley step on you? I'm sorry, honey.
Kenzie,
Yeah,
poor
he
Kenzie.
they upstairs in my bedroom. They've got like one corner of my bedroom, right? So it's like I
Hmm.
can see dead ass into my bedroom right now, and
Sure.
it's got like dog beds set up, like you remember like how like they would show in those Sinbad movies when he'd break in and there'd be the harem like laying all over these like pillows, like
Yeah, yeah.
they're like the most plushy thing. Imagine that, except it's covered in dog hair, and you've got the corner of my bedroom.
There you go.
And yeah, so Moxley decides that he wants to get on a fluffier part that Kenzie's already claimed. He'll just flop on her. And yeah, and so she didn't like that one that time, so she let him know about it. And then she
Yeah,
had to come and let me know about it.
because Moxley is a giant ass horse dog, and Moxley and Kenzie is a normal size senior dog, and it's like, come on,
Yes,
Mox,
poor
be a
girl.
little, be a little gentle with your sister. Good
Yeah.
lord. Yeah, and of course Seth means Sinbad, as in like the Arabian, folklore character and literary hero,
Yeah,
not the
no,
'90s comedian.
yeah, not Schwarzenegger's rival in Jingle All the Way. Not the 90s comedian Sinbad, which did lead to some confusion for me growing up, because I would see Sinbad on I would see Sinbad in the newspaper listings and then think that it was the black comedian. and then be treated with these horrible, horrible Sinbad movies.
Sword and
That were
sandal movies.
yeah,
Oh
the
my
sort. Oh gosh, they were terrible.
god! You're expecting Sinbad to show up there.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like I was into it. Like well, no, I know exactly what it was. It was like he did non-offensive comedy for the most part, and
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was yeah. Growing up until I was like 12, like all like I consumed like very little outside secular media. But
Mm-hmm.
like Sinbad was one of those things that kind of like crept in as something that was okay because he was moderately clean, you
Yeah.
know, for the most part. And
I
yeah,
know. I love Sinbad stuff too, but yeah, you're right. He was definitely, you could watch him without worrying about mom and dad, barging and going, "What are you watching?
yeah.
What's this language out here?"
And one of my favorite stories of Sinbad too involves one of my old comic book store buddy. He was the clerk at Pulp Heroes in Clarksville when it was open.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, you know how you'd go and just hang out in the comic book store for hours and just bullshit. And we got onto the subject of that, and he was he said yeah he was hitting on this girl, and she invited him to a party, right? So
Mm-hmm.
like like him and a buddy go, and like there's all these people around, and like and they're looking around at this party, and when they get there, and like as they're going through, there's like somebody with an acoustic guitar in one room, right? And like
Oh god.
he's playing like music, and then like there's the kitchen, they've got like the bowl of chips and like solo cups and like things like that, and like soda bottles set out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and then the TV's got like there's something playing and people are watching it and everything, and then like he starts to put two and two together, and he's like, oh crap, they're trying to recruit me into some kind of religion. And because like listening to the song, and it's like this non-offensive like praise Jesus song, right? And I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with any of this, but like and then he like looks at the TV, and it's a Sinbad comedy special, and he's like, okay, like uplifting praise song, non-offensive comedy, no alcoholic beverages. Yep, I'm being recruited. They want
Mm-hmm.
me to, yeah. And it was one of those like Campus for Christ deals or whatever. Yeah,
Oh
he
yeah.
thought that it was going to be like a party, and it was, yeah. They preached at him later. He said,
I hate it. See, if you're going to be recruited, at least why can't it be like, be recruited by the Star League to defend the frontier against Zora and the Gordan Armada? It's like,
yeah,
why can't we be recruited for something cool and not for like going to church? I
right.
mean, not like there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, come on. Oh, Brad's gonna. Since we were talking about Sinbad, we got to bring up. Remember Kazam?
Kazam.
Because Kazam has got this Mandela effect thing where there are people convinced that there was some movie in the 90s where Sinbad plays a genie. And people know it's like, no, that movie never existed. That movie
Mhm.
stars Shaquille O'Neal, as
Yes,
Bradley says. Yes.
right.
But there's this whole Mandela effect where people are convinced that they even Funny or Die did a fake trailer for Abracadabra of Sinbad starring as a genie. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There's
so but yeah,
another version I heard of it that it was Sinbad starred in a genie movie called Shazam. and
okay,
and I knew that one. Okay, see that one. My own rage knows that I'm in the right timeline for this one. That never happened
right.
because I hate the whole idea that Captain Marvel in DC is now no longer Captain Marvel and they have to call him Shazam. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I would have known years ago had there been a character called Shazam, other
Yeah,
than the big red cheese. Yeah,
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 because even if they put like two Z's or two A's in the role, it's like no, the name is Shazam. You'll get
yeah.
sick. No,
It's
yeah,
yeah,
that ain't happening.
right.
Yeah. Well, I got some comic book reviews for us before we get into our main topic this evening here. I have 5 books, so do you care to play how many
Ooh,
Batmans are in
ooh.
the stack?
Is there okay? Hold on. Is there a Batman this week?
There
At least,
is
at least one Batman. Okay,
at least one Batman, yes.
I'm gonna guess two Batmans.
Mm-hmm. That's your final answer?
Two Batmans is my final answer.
You would be incorrect. It's one.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
And since we're talking about it here, I got to bring up the final issue of Batman Dark Patterns, issue 12 here. So, this series, if you're not familiar with it, it doesn't necessarily take place in the Long Halloween universe, but it may as well because the art has that sort of feel to it. Was it Hayden Sherman? Yeah, Hayden Sherman did the main art in this. So he's doing very much a Tim Sale kind of homage in the art. So that's always a really cool thing. But the whole idea for Dark Patterns is that basically there are 4 separate cases that Batman kind of works back to back to back. And as we realize, all those cases are connected. So it's like the first 3 issues is one case. The next 3 issues is another. The next 3 issues is another. And then the final 3 issues is the final case where you find out how everything is connected. So if you really like your detective story kind of Batman stuff and figuring things out and interesting to, like I said, there's each story, each, mystery or murder mystery or whatever else he has to do are all unique and interesting, but there's still, it's like everything is still connected. So, but yeah, just absolutely fun series. I think it's going to go down later on as one of those, like, just really good, kind of like a timeless, it doesn't necessarily connect to any sort of continuity. It's kind of classic in its presentation. And like I said, with the art kind of seeming to almost fit in with the Tim Sale Long Halloween universe, it has like a much more older kind of feel to it. So yeah, highly, highly recommend checking it out. Now, of course, the series is complete. The trade paperback will be out, probably in the next couple of months. So if you don't want to collect the individual issues, you can just get the trade. So next up, our little Marvel selection here. This is one you could appreciate here, seeing as you've already seen the film. This is Predator Badlands. This is a one-shot prequel, essentially, that gets you primed up for the movie. So this gives you like a little more background on our titular character here, and kind of, like I said, kind of gives you a little more, going into the movie, kind of very similar to what they did with Alien Romulus. But unlike the release window for the Alien Romulus one-shot, which literally came out after the movie had been in theaters for almost a month, this was released literally the week after it hit theaters. So it's like, thank you, Marvel. Good timing there. Like, if you're going to release a tie-in prequel book to a movie that's released in theaters, it's a good idea to release it somewhere around the time of its opening weekend, either before or after.
While it is at least in theaters, it's still gaining traction. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And of course, currently it's the #1 movie in the world right now. You saw it. What was your review on it?
Man, I loved it. I thought that it was fantastic. It was probably, as far as Predator movies go, man, I'm gonna say like the original still being the best, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
But it's top 3 at least, and I struggle for reasons not to put it in top 2.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's that good, and it's I don't want to give anything away because there's a lot of I appreciated it from a filmmaking standpoint and from a Predator lore standpoint.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it played with a lot. It was a fun story. I hope that we this gentleman can continue to make Predator films the way that he wants to, because I forgot his name that's involved with
Dan Trachtenberg.
Dan Trachtenberg. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Trey, Killer of Killers, and now Badlands. Yeah, they've all been hits as far as I'm concerned. And if he's still cool doing Predator, let him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm looking for. I haven't got to see Badlands yet. I'm looking forward to it. I know going into the movie, like, the only human character is essentially the Synthezoid. So it's very heavy on Yachtja lore. I think we're supposedly in the movie we see Yachtja Prime, from what I heard. So we get a lot more lore of how the culture works and the language and everything like that, much more than we have in any other movie before. So yeah, I'm looking very forward to it. And Bill Dorris is apparently trying to start a fight here because he says that Prey was trash.
Bill, no, Bill,
no, sir.
No, you might have watched the wrong movie.
Yeah.
No,
Prey was a love you, buddy. Yeah. Good to see you, but no, you're dead ass wrong on that one. That's gonna be a hard disagree with you on that one.
Yeah. Oh man, no, Prey was. I love the concept. I love the idea that somebody finally agrees with me that like Predator is something that you can just take as a concept and put it in different points in history just to see what would happen.
Yep,
Right? Like you could
100%.
put yeah, Predator anywhere. It's
Anywhere.
awesome.
They've done it in the comics for years. Let's see it in the movie. And so we saw, basically, a Predator versus Native American warriors. That's like, okay, let's go to feudal Japan. There even like Killer of Killers. Like we got that feudal Japan. We got, basically World War II era pilots, versus Predator technology. So it's like these guys have been advanced for a very long time, but they still have a very ancient culture and
Yeah.
honor system and whatever else. So yeah, like
This is kind of be geeking a little bit because yeah, so I guess one thing I could talk about for a second too is like I watched Avatar again, the James
okay, yeah,
Cameron, the original.
mm-hmm.
And it's like I appreciated it a lot more than what I did the first time I watched it.
Okay,
It's like I mean the plot like is I mean it's not like, breaking any
it's
ground plot wise, but
no,
nothing does, right? Like, but as
mm-hmm.
far as spectacle and like I gave a damn about the characters kind of deal, it was spot on, right? So like I was gonna watch the second one, but like I was actually thinking Avatar's a 20th Century Fox property now, technically, right?
Yeah.
So like what if a predator's running around on Pandora and has to fight one of them blue Navi dudes? Yeah. It's like that's
You got some dead ass blue people is what you got.
right, yeah. I mean, that would be like I would love like the Predator Avatar movie.
That'd be tight.
Yeah.
And Bradley's got a comment here says that if he's correct, that Badlands is the first time that Yacha is actually used in movie canon as an official species name.
Yeah.
Also, yeah, are there any female predators? Because I've never seen them in a movie. It's all been male.
Uh
I don't
I
even.
okay, if
There has to be. I mean, how they breed?
I can answer this question, but we get into spoiler territory if I do.
Okay, all right. So there are
Um
female predators. Okay.
well yeah, okay.
Well, I
I
guess
think I think Bradley is correct in regards to the term Yautja. Unless Killer of Killers counts as the theatrical. I
well,
think
that was an animated film or something like that.
right,
Maybe
yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, as
I
far
mean,
as theatrically, yeah.
well, there may be. I'm not sure if there's any. Probably with their culture, there may not necessarily be any female hunters, but there's got to be a female of the species because again, how do they breed? So, but you
Yeah.
know, at least up until Badlands, without you spoiling anything, we have never seen the female of the species. So even in the
Right.
comics, I don't think we ever have. Like it's
Yeah.
always been about the hunters. So we've even seen like the hierarchy, like kings or chieftains or however their leadership roles. We've seen that, but yeah, we've never seen an actual lady predator. So yeah.
Right, right.
So there you go. And Bradley had an earlier question, so we were talking about comic books and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Some a weird and somewhat unrelated question: what is it with fictional characters versus sports celebrities, i.e., Muhammad Ali versus Superman, Godzilla versus Charles Barkley, yada yada yada? Basically, that is what we call a marketing ploy. Basically a reason for people who don't normally buy comic books to buy comic books. Say like, oh, that's all nerd stuff. I don't do that because I watch sports ball. And oh, well, here's a sports ball guy for you. Hey, if you like basketball, here's Charles Barkley fighting Godzilla. Or, here's Superman and Muhammad Ali getting whisked away to an alien world where Superman doesn't have powers and they have to get in a boxing match for the entertainment of an alien overlord, sort of thing like that. So,
Yeah.
or like Wayne Gretzky had a comic book for a little bit. Tony Stewart had the NASCAR driver had some sort of like, it was an independent company and they had a deal with like 7-Up because I think it was one of his sponsors. But the name of the comic book was called Race Warrior, which is like, so is this a social political book or something like that?
Yeah, that's kind of
guys,
like that's a loaded title today. Yeah.
yeah. Basically, no. This is basically like the dude is like a vigilante who also drives a car, And he's also a race car driver, but he's also like a superhero vigilante guy. So
Yeah.
he's the race warrior, but it has nothing to do with like skin color, race. It's just
Right.
it was not a successful book. It's currently hiding around in your dollar bins at your local comic shop. Check it out. Not really.
Yeah, but also I think too, Bradley, because they become sports collectibles as well as comic collectibles.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like really kind of serving two markets. And sports memorabilia fans are just as rabid as comic book fans can be.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and especially when like the two markets cross, that's yeah.
Yeah. And Superman versus Muhammad Ali has been reprinted numerous times. Let's see, it was reprinted when Muhammad Ali passed away. They did it for some anniversary. It was reprinted again when Neil Adams passed away. They've reprinted the Treasury version because DC's doing all reprints for all their old treasuries. So it's like it's the giant magazine format, So yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
so yeah, it's always just a marketing ploy and a way to get to sell comic books to people who wouldn't normally buy comic books. The same reason why you would have movie tie-ins or you would do comic books based on TV shows that are popular because hey, you like Stranger Things? Here's a Stranger Things comic book. You like Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Comic book.
Now the Godzilla versus Charles Barkley, that's like kind of a triple threat because you've got comic collectors, you've got sports collectors, and then you've got Godzilla collectors, which are a
Mm-hmm.
whole different animal entirely. Like it's
Yep.
not just like comic books, but they collect Godzilla stuff, like the
Mm-hmm.
vinyl toys or like magazines or Godzilla
And
collectors.
everything, yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're right. Yeah, that is a triple threat there. Yeah. So,
yeah.
and man, let me tell you, for Godzilla's 70th birthday this year, Godzilla fans are eating very well in the comic book universe because right now Godzilla is across 3 different publishers currently. You've got IDW, who normally holds the license for new Godzilla stories, and they currently have the what was it called? The Kaisei era, which is basically a shared universe across 3 different Godzilla titles right now. There's a Godzilla, Godzilla Escape the Dead Zone, and Starship Godzilla, which basically people find a mecha Godzilla out in space and pilot it like a starship.
Okay.
Yeah, so all those titles, there's gonna be some little miniseries, so all that stuff is like a connected universe. They're starting to build from there. Then over in Marvel, you've had a litany of like variant covers for about a year or so, and then you had the Godzilla Versus series, which like Godzilla versus the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man, the Avengers, all that.
Right. Yeah.
And then now currently you've got the Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe miniseries, which I think is about to end next week. So the final issue of that's coming out. But then over at DC, you've got Volume 2 of their Justice League versus Godzilla versus Kong miniseries. So, yeah, Godzilla fans are eating real well this year.
Yeah. Wow.
Mm-hmm. And then, of course, we got the announcement. What was it? A couple of weeks ago that we get a Godzilla, another Godzilla -1 sequel.
Yes. Oh gosh, I cannot wait for that. I've almost bought that 4K so many times.
Yeah,
Like just
I really need to do it. Yeah, I need
yeah.
to pull the trigger on myself because it's just it's. I'm not. I've always appreciated Godzilla, but I've never been like a huge Godzilla fan. It's been one of my most minor fandoms, I would say. But when a really good one comes along, I appreciate it, and this is a really really good one.
Yeah, this Godzilla -1 to me wasn't just a good Godzilla movie. It was a good
It's a
movie.
good movie. Yes.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
it's incredible. Just like the human story in it. For once, like the human story meant something to me. Most of the
Yeah.
time, it's just the framework to get around the monster blowing shit up.
Yeah,
But yeah, it's
but yeah, you want both in this movie. You're concerned with the characters,
yes.
and you also want Godzilla to blow shit up. Yeah,
Yeah, just the scale and the destruction. Godzilla is menacing when he's on screen,
yeah.
And there's another scene with an explosion that is one of the most impactful explosion scenes I've ever seen. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like and it really kind of like it brings back the whole idea of like what Godzilla was in the original black and white movie, where it was a straight horror film.
Yep.
Right? It wasn't a kaiju. I mean, it was a kaiju film, yes, but it was a horror kaiju.
It was a horror movie, yeah.
Yeah, and it was about like the idea of like the atomic weaponry and like cities just being destroyed. Like that's like one of my Japanese friends like commented one time, like the put into perspective that like
Mm-hmm.
you got to think like Japan is like the small like series of islands, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Right, yeah.
like stuff happens to these things all the time, like weather hits and like a bad weather hits in the northern part of Japan and could wipe a town off the map.
Sure, yeah.
Like they've had to deal with like the reactor stuff, like Hiroshima, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like towns are things that just might go away in
Yeah.
Japan. And that's like that, yeah. And it's like they kind of that this movie kind of hammers that home,
Yeah.
and it's so weird to just like surreal to see that. Like, I don't mean that weird in a prerogative sense. I just meant like surreal and like, yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
exactly, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, so I'm excited to see what the filmmakers are going to do next, because, like I said, just -1 was such an achievement, and what I also find so fascinating is like a movie of such quality and such a good movie, a good cast, no stars, and this movie was done. I can't remember what the final budget was, but it was a very small budget in comparison to a lot of.
Obscenely cheap, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And it's basically in comparison to a lot of Hollywood movies of the same caliber. Maybe for like even maybe a third of what some of those bigger Hollywood movies are done for. So
I'm wanting to say so. I mean, I know it was under 100 million, but I'm wanting to say it was probably. I'm wanting to say it was sub 50. Sub
that's what I
50
was thinking. I was thinking low. Or I was thinking like around like 50 or 55 million is what it cost, somewhere around there. But yeah,
I'm
let's get the
checking
Google
it
machine on.
out.
Yeah, get the Google machine on there.
Oh wow. Okay. Wow. Even less. So according to Wikipedia, for however reliable you take that to be,
Mm-hmm.
and Fangoria, Godzilla -1 was made on a 10 to $15 million budget.
Whoa!
Yeah, that is
Damn!
wow.
Crazy. Yeah, I
That
wonder. I wonder if the studio tacked on some more budget just for marketing and stuff like that. But that is crazy.
yeah, just for especially with how good the effects were in that, right? Like
Yeah.
my biggest thing with CG stuff is like it never feels like it has weight. And in Godzilla -1, Godzilla had weight.
Mm-hmm.
Stuff like, yeah, the world was very physically reactive around him. It was, holy shit. This is like finding out that Desperado was made for only $7 million.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is, yeah.
Well, Rodriguez the king when it comes to good and cheap. So yeah,
Dude,
he
I'm pretty
rivaled.
sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's like you could give Robert Rodriguez 10 grand right now, and like he could come up with like 90 minutes of like a quality film that you could show in a theater.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
fairly certain.
Yeah, there's a movie of his. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like he was done during COVID or maybe like a little bit after COVID. But basically, like, he and his son were the only crew, and I think it had a cast of like fewer than 10 people, maybe even
Yeah.
less than that. But it was like, yeah, the only crew was Robert. It was Robert and his son, who's now like in I think like his early 20s now. I think so.
Right.
So which makes me also feel old because remember when that kid was born.
Right. Yeah.
Now
Oh
he's in his
man.
20s. He's like, my hair.
Yeah.
All right. We got a couple more reviews here. And basically, Image Comics apparently wins the day because my next 3 reviews are all Image Comics for stuff here.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
but bringing up a little classic G.I. Joe Real American Hero, issue
Is
322. I don't know.
that Snow
Uh,
Job on the cover?
you got Snow Job, Iceberg, and Frostbite, all 3 of them on the cover there.
Okay.
Also,
Okay.
also Blizzard is heavily featured this issue too. So, since this is coming right off the heels of 321, which again celebrated the silent era, the silent issues, and they did another new silent issue. So this is coming off the heels of that. So it's still somewhat within continuity within the storylines, but also kind of a nice little like single mission issue, except you got kind of essentially a split mission going on. You have a desert crew over on one side of the world taking out some Cobra bullshit, and then you got an Arctic crew kind of doing, on another side of the world doing some stuff. So, you get two different landscapes there. But yeah, on the Arctic crew, yeah, it's Snow Job, Iceberg, Frostbite, and Blizzard. And then in the Desert crew, it's Lady J, Dusty. Trying to think, there's Sidewinder, which was kind of one of the later Joes, and then Molto, who's kind of a newer character that has been created for the Larry Hama Joe stuff. So and Molto, I believe, is Iranian, I think. So he's like the first Middle Eastern Joe, essentially. So
yeah.
Anyway, so just a nice, fun, independent Joe issue here. Of course, like I said, two different kinds of landscapes going on, but lots of good action, lots of fun blowing shit up. So, yeah, like I said, just if you like your good kind of nice standalone Joe issues there, you don't necessarily have to know what's going on. Just nice, fun action. That's a good one there. 322.
Okay.
Next up, going over to the Energon universe here. Transformers number 26.
Oh, the start of a new era, right?
Well, actually, 25 was the start of the new era. So this is kind of like our first issue coming off of that.
Okay.
So at this point now, the Transformers got their ship back. They got the computer working again, which basically can help rebuild them and repair them if need be, or rebuild other Autobots. So things on Earth are getting a little bit better. And also some other good things happen for the Autobots. So finally, after the Autobots kind of getting their asses handed to them, things are getting a little bit easier for them. Interestingly enough, there's a defection in this issue. Somebody turns teams. Kind of a secondary character, but somebody who's been in the series since the first issue. So yeah, so just some interesting stuff, but also some more setup for kind of what's going on with Megatron and some of the other Decepticons, and kind of even though Megatron's back and everybody's like, "Yay, Megatron's back!" They seem weaker almost. Uh-oh. Mox is barking about something. And
he's barking about something, but yeah, it's like it's not an urgent bark, and Kenzie ain't freaking out either. So yeah.
So it's basically Mox sees something outside, so he's going to bark at it. So
probably yeah.
But yeah, so like I said, so yeah, an interesting kind of just continuing the storyline stuff that's going on with Transformers, and of course we get a little bit going back to what's going on in Cybertron as well, because of course Cliffjumper is still over there with some other Autobots, and the one female Autobot that's not RC, who's one of the other older warriors. Man, this chick's a bitch.
Yeah, she's been no fun. She's a bummer from Jump Street.
She further gets no fun. Yeah. Let's put it this way. So yeah, I don't like her. I don't like her at all. And last but not least, this is one I know you're looking forward to as well. This is issue 1 of Die Loaded.
Yes. Oh
yes.
My gosh.
The sequel series to the Kieran Gillian run of basically kind of a real world Dungeons and Dragons, where a group of people create a game, and then basically the game turns out to be real, and they go into the world of that game and come out. Goth Jumanji, yes. Or Dungeons and Dragons with an existential crisis.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is our sequel series here that basically takes place, maybe a kind of year or so after they come back. But the interesting thing is when they bring them back in COVID. So they were trapped in another world. They come back home, and now they're trapped at home. So that's kind of the setup to start this thing here. But the game is trying to lure our group back. And the way they're trying to lure them back kind of kicks you in the nuts, because now essentially it's going after loved ones and family members.
Oh yeah. Now, see, I want to check this out, because there's actually another piece of Die lore that I don't know that if you're aware of. The RPG book
Mm-hmm.
It's
We didn't get that in the shop. I guess no one ordered it, and Tommy decided not to get it or didn't know what it was. But yes, that is
yeah.
100% correct.
Yeah, because it's not just like how to play the die tabletop game. Because yeah, it's a whole ass tabletop game on top of the comic book
Mm-hmm.
series. Like you can play it with friends like D&D. But
Yep.
yeah, there is a story in there too that is also
Interesting.
part of the manual, and it's a companion piece to the original comic book series. So I want to see how that and
Ah.
yeah, I have not read it yet because I do not have that manual, but I want to get it just
Okay.
for that reason. Yeah.
I will see about or see if we can order one of those because with
Please.
image,
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
with image stuff, especially something like that, it may not have sold out, so they may still have those available. So yeah, I'll see if I can get one of
Okay.
those for you. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I said first issue that. Of course, I got you that. And of course, new Conan is out, which Conan's good too. I don't but yeah. So but yeah, I got you your die as well. But yeah, first issue, we're off to a good start. I can't
Hell
wait.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All righty. So enough reviews and stuff like that. Let's get to our topic du jour this evening, which is TVs versus movies, a history of rivalry.
Dun
So,
dun 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 dun.
so this was an idea you came up with that I really liked, and we're like, oh yeah, we could definitely talk about this stuff here. So, kind
Yeah.
of set us up with what your perspective is on this here.
Well, George and I were talking one time, and not too long back here actually, and about like what we watched growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And George said, obviously, like you watched some television shows here and there, but there wasn't like I watched like I remember like there were like times in my life when it was like at 8 o'clock on Tuesdays we were watching this show at this time or whatever, right?
Yep.
That was like the family thing, like we watched TV. So I would
Mm-hmm.
watch large chunks of television shows. Like you didn't really do that. You watched like movies more than anything else. Like,
Yep.
and you would catch stuff, but it's like you didn't per se perhaps like stay on top of like, the season run of MacGyver at a time or anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember like Family Time, definitely like Family Ties, Cosby Show. Those were shows we all kind of gathered for. When I was itty bitty, The Muppets, but I mean, that was like my only show. I watched back in the day really religiously. But yeah, it's like I mean, I've seen a handful of Miami Vice and some A Team and some MacGyver, some of those classic stuff like that. But yeah, I was much more a movie guy than anything else. So that's why people are like, how many movies have you seen? I'm like, a lot.
Yeah. And so and that led into other like for me that led into other TV shows like The X-Files.
Mm-hmm.
Like you obviously you've seen episodes of The X-Files, but you
Yep.
you have never sat down and watched, to my knowledge, like the series run and
No,
have like a working knowledge of what happens from season 1 to 11 or whatever.
correct.
Like,
I have seen complete seasons that since I've been married because I'm married an X Files fan.
right,
So
right,
so
right.
so there have been a few seasons I have seen in their completion, but I've never seen the entire series in the completion.
Yeah.
So, like, I know, like, at one point, David Duchovny leaves the show, and so, like, Mulder gets kidnapped by aliens, and then that's when you got, was it, the T-1000 guy. And,
Robert Patrick and
yeah, Robert Patrick. Yeah,
unidentification. Yeah.
yeah, you see, you got him on the show, for a little bit. Yeah, and like kind of basically it's like when Bo and Luke Duke left the Dukes of Hazzards and they had the cousins on there. It's kind of like that, and then like okay, that didn't work, and so they brought Boulder back, and then the show got canceled, and there you
Yeah. I mean, basically, yeah, pretty much.
go.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Yeah.
oh god, I so because I did. I didn't watch Dukes of Hazzard every week, but I did watch that a lot when I was a kid, and I remember that first season of like, oh, so Bo and Luke Duke left Hazard, but the cousins are going to take over. So I remember one guy's name was Candy. I can't remember the other dude's name was, but like they literally like looked like clones, like they were the Timu
Yeah.
version. It's like, okay, this guy kind of looks like John Schneider, but not quite. This guy kind of looks like Tom Wopat, but not quite,
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, you're talking about the classic TV switcheroo where they try and take like an
Mm-hmm.
established character and replace them with another character, and it worked in Bewitched for like what 2 seasons or what? That's the very famous one where they replaced Darren
Yep.
and
Yeah,
at
Dick
one of
York
the
and Dick Sargent. Yeah.
yeah Dick Gordon, Dick Sargent, and then there was Sarah Chalk and Sarah what's her name from Roseanne.
Oh
The
yeah,
the
yeah,
the
yeah.
Beckies, yeah, they switched out mid-series run, but very
Well,
rarely does the
well,
switcheroo work.
well, you had Valerie Harper had a show where it was like in the '80s, where like it was like another kind of family sitcom, and like they did, I think like I can't
Excuse me.
remember if it was like the first season or something like that, or whatever else. And then the show got canceled because like she was wanting too much money, and so she gets fired from the show. They hire Sandy Duncan to take her place, completely revamp the show. Like the same cast stays, like because Jason Bateman was one of the kids on the show.
Yeah,
So I think it was called like it was called like Valerie's Place or something like that. And then like the show, they changed the name of the show and almost the entire premise of the show. But they're like, here's the same cast, and now we got Sandy Duncan replacing Valerie Harper. So there you go, kids. Yeah, it's just like. But then that show lasted for a while, like with the Sandy
yeah.
Duncan version of the cast, like it lasted like a few more seasons. So it's like, okay, so yeah,
That sounds like what happened with the sitcom Mom that was on in like that just wrapped up within the past couple of
yeah,
years.
Allison Janney, yeah,
Yeah, Allison Janney and Anna Faris, and it
yeah,
started as Anna Faris vehicle, where she was the single mom raising her kids, and Anna Faris was the quirky grandma, the quirky alcoholic grandma. That
yeah. Well, they're both alcoholics because I
oh
remember
yeah yeah yeah
I
yeah
remember having to do promo when I was working in the CW stuff. I remember having to do promos for the show, and like I'm trying to pitch this show to people to watch it. It's a funny sitcom, but like one mom's a single mom, the other mom is a younger single mom. They're both recovering alcoholics, and the
yeah
granddaughter hates them both. Tune in Tuesdays.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah, it's a hard show to sell, and it's the first season of that show. I mean, it's got funny moments, but it's obvious Allison Janney's the funny one in there for
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
And number two, like it has elements that later become part of the series, but like from season two on, it stops being the single mom family comedy and starts being the ensemble, group comedy about
yeah.
like the ladies group of recovering alcoholics, their
Hmm.
AA meeting, and then it
Yeah,
becomes something. It actually becomes like a damn good show,
right.
once it gets through there, because it, like, it's like actually got some commentary about addiction and how people perceive it, like
Yeah,
that. That's one thing. One thing that I think television has that or episodic television has that people forget whenever they compare it to movies is those weird moments and character beats that really resonate from sitcoms with people, where
hmm,
you watch them for however many seasons, however many episodes, so these characters become very comfortable with you, almost like parasocial to an extent, like
yeah.
I know people like watched Friends and felt like those dudes were their friends.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, but so it's like when they kind of you empathize the things, and that's you empathize things through these characters that you kind of identify with.
Yeah.
And
Or you, especially back in the day, especially in like the '80s and a little bit of the '90s, you would have like the very special episodes.
yeah,
Like on Different Strokes, we're dealing with the bullies or dealing with like child molestation.
I
Uh oh.
not to make light of this at all, but number one, I can never not think of that Different Strokes episode without thinking of the Family Guy cutaway, where it's the guy in the bike shop going, "Hey, scream real loud into my ass," and yeah, and, and this episode gets brought up at my office more often than not, more often than you would believe. And we can't remember the name of it, so it's the Dudley Got Diddled episode.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah, yep.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
it
gonna say
was
this was the child molestation episode here,
yeah.
and it's Gordon. Was it? I can't remember what his last name was. Basically, the station manager for WKRP in Cincinnati.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
That's the guy
yeah,
that's the kid. That's
yeah,
the guy's the diddler. So it's like,
yeah.
oh yeah,
I mean, it's a very powerful episode. Don't get me wrong. It's like I'm not making light of it. It's just like it's one of those things where it's like, they try and shoehorn awkward comedy into it because they don't want you to feel really bummed out for like 22 minutes.
yeah.
Or no, this was a two-parter, wasn't it? I think
It may
it
have been a two-parter. Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man.
But TV was always trying to teach a lesson. Of course, one of the big ones I remember when I was very little was basically watching Sesame Street, and there was the Mr. Roper character, which Mr. Roper ran like the convenience store, the general store on Sesame Street. Well, that actor dies because he was an elderly man, and so the show has got to deal with the fact that now a not a major character, but a character who appeared regularly on the show has passed away. And so now we got to talk about death and we got to talk
Yeah.
about it to little kids. And so I remember, like, literally, my parents were setting me down, like, okay, so remember this guy you liked on your show here? Yeah. So this is a special episode. You should watch this. Like, they couldn't even say, like, he died, because, like, it's like,
Oh
I guess
wow.
they didn't want to spoil anything here. But yeah, so it's like, yeah, watch this. I mean, because little, like, they were, like, advertising, like, hey, so we're going to do this special episode about Mr. Roper dying here and talk about death and explain what it is, without basically necessarily getting into a religious aspect of it. Just literally like, okay, so your friend, he's not here anymore. He went to sleep and he's not going to wake up, and that kind of sort of thing like that.
Right. Explaining it as easy as you could to an audience of children. Yeah.
Right, but not touching on any religious aspects because they didn't want to offend anybody. That's like, oh, we didn't want to handle it from a Christian aspect because we know we have Jewish viewers or we have Muslim viewers or whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
as best as Sesame Street could possibly handle it, they did back in the day. So that was like a huge thing. It was like, oh shit, Mr. Roper died. What the fuck, So then, so kids got to learn about that. But kind of getting into like the history of this rivalry here. Of course, when television debuted, film had already been a thing. So we'd had silent films, and then basically they moved to the talkies, and then we moved from black and white to color. So of course that happens later on, but still, film has already been established, and it was like even up until like maybe the 70s, like people would get dressed up in their finest, like they're going to Sunday church to go see a movie. Because going to the movies sometimes meant, you're going to be there for a good portion of the evening. Outside of just seeing your feature film, you would have, some shorts, whether it be like the Three Stooges or an action serial or seeing some cartoons or something. But then you'd get like a newsreel and, so there'd be all kinds of entertainment there aside from your actual movie, which may have been like an hour and a half or whatever else, but you're going to be sitting there for maybe another 30 minutes watching this other stuff there. So, it was a social event to go out and go to a film, a sort of thing like that. And then now you've got this thing at home that's entertaining you. But, it's when TV first came out, I mean, people don't remember this, but like screens were like less than 10 inches.
They're like super, super tiny and like sometimes round. Like it's almost impossible to imagine people watching, programs on these things. And I remember my mom telling me that growing up, they had a 13-inch black and white in the living room, and that was the TV that they had at the time. And then growing up, we had, I believe it was a 19-inch in the living room.
Okay,
yeah. It was on a TV stand and everything, and that was about your standard was a 19-inch television set, and everybody just kind of did with it, if you were really rich and splurgy, you knew somebody that might have like a 32-inch or like one of them super nice like projection screen jobs that might have like but those were obscenely expensive.
I can't remember who it was, but mom and dad had a friend back in the day who had one of those. We went over to his house to watch a movie. I don't remember what the movie was. I was just like, this is amazing. Your TV is ginormous. And, it's like, oh my God. So it was like mid 80s or something like that. But I was like, holy shit. That was the thing.
Yeah.
So basically, TV starting off was a medium of entertainment that you could have in the home, just like how radio was prior to that. But TV was always viewed as a lesser thing. When it came to your entertainment programming, actors who were on TV shows and sitcoms, or even dramatic and action shows, or westerns, or whatever else, most of those people, if it was earlier in their career, they may start out there and then they can transition to film, and that was kind of the idea. But if you were midway through your film career or towards the end of your film career and you were doing TV, that was kind of like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
you're going downhill. Your time in the spotlight is over, and now you've transitioned going down to TV. So that was
Right.
considered a lesser thing. Even though
Part
TV
of
still. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say part of that too is also because of the way that television was worked in the beginning as well. Because
Hmm.
obviously you didn't have videotape to record
Right.
programs all the
Hmm.
time, so they had I believe this process. It was called telesync at the
Hmm.
time, and what it was basically was they would take a camera that would broadcast the feed of whatever it was viewing, and broadcast it over the air, and they would play a 35 millimeter projection with sound. They had it like wired up in a certain way. So basically, it would just be like old film stock and film
Right.
reels that were just being rolled live, and being broadcast as it is.
Hmm.
Television shows a lot of times were broadcast live as they aired, and like they were just basically done like weird like live broadcast plays, and nobody ever unless somebody thought to put a camera in front of a television set
Hmm.
and film it that way, it didn't get recorded.
Correct.
A lot of early television does not exist. News broadcast, everything, because yeah, film. They started to do they film, and the way videotape kind of changed things with television, and stuff started becoming more and more archived. But
Hmm.
even into the 80s, or television was not even archived. The BBC famously doesn't have an obscene like 80 or 90 Doctor Who episodes
Right.
because they kept reusing the old master tapes. So
Hmm.
they would just tape over the tapes over and over again. And some of the Doctor Who episodes that we do have only exist because people videotaped them off of the television sets at the time.
Right.
And yeah, it's just wild that stuff like that would be considered lost media. There's stuff
Hmm.
now, man, that is lost media that we don't even think about, that came out like 2 years ago.
Oh
That
yeah.
like yeah, it was like yeah, you could never find it all. It's obscene. But
Yeah, it's stuff you wouldn't even think about, but it's just like streaming services that no longer exist, that no one's picked up those shows,
yeah,
uh, or movies or whatever else. That there's and there was no physical release of them ever, so it's like they're just lost in limbo until someone decides to pick them up.
yeah. But
So,
yeah. Back to the subject at hand, movies versus television, and like being
mm,
lesser, a lesser version of it. Like now, me growing up, like I watched a lot of my fair share of movies. Don't get me wrong, but
right,
a lot of that was also like interspersed with television. So it's like I knew television stars, versus like movie actors, and like sometimes you would have a movie actor pop into a television show for like
right,
a hot minute, but it was a big event.
hmm,
Like such and so okay, like Friends, for example, right? Like Friends was
yeah,
this friggin' phenomenon, right? But like Brad Pitt came doing a guest star spot on Friends was a bigger deal than Friends, right? Because Brad Pitt that was about like kind of like right about the time when it started to end with movie stars and TV stars, I think. Like,
hmm,
but yeah, it's like Brad Pitt would never do a sitcom, normally. Like he ain't gonna cameo on that unless it was like something super, super special, you
right.
know, or he
Or
just happened to be married to one of the cast members, is the case for this. But
Yeah, or like even even further back, like there was an episode of the Golden Girls where the ladies were going to go to some kind of live event where they get to meet Burt Reynolds, and so of course they're all in tizzy because everybody wants to go bang Burt Reynolds, right?
right, right,
Even Rose, like yeah, let's do it, and then and of course like Sophia gets left out of it, and bunch of other bullshit happens, and the girls don't get to go, but Sophia does. And so Sophia's bragging about it, whatever else. Getting towards the end of the episode, doorbell rings. It's fucking Bert. and they're like, and like all the ladies like, oh my god, that's Mr. Burt Reynolds, and they're all going crazy. It's it's wetter than a Brazilian rainforest right now.
Right,
But
right, right.
but then like he's like, hey, let's go to lunch, Sophia. So then like he goes and takes Sophia out and leaves the others behind, stunned. But like that 30-second cameo is Burt Reynolds just going like, hey, what's up? It's almost like
Right, yeah.
you see like Norm Macdonald do his Burt Reynolds impersonation. It's kind of that same thing. It's like, hey, what's up? I'm Burt Reynolds. I still look
Right.
good. I still got my hair.
Yeah. My name's Kurt Ferguson now.
But yeah, it's like, so yeah, you always had this perception, as well, especially when I was a kid, even going into like the 80s, like you would still like TV was a lesser thing, even though you would have like big event things, big event miniseries like Roots, Shogun,
Mm-hmm.
Salem's Lot, or when they started doing a lot more of the Stephen King, like ABC started doing a lot of the Stephen King TV movies, things like that. So or like even in the 80s, you had the Invasion
Oh yeah, yeah.
series. So you would have big event TV things that would draw in huge ratings, but still TV was considered a lesser thing. It had a lesser aspect ratio. Your budgets were smaller than on some films. So things like that. So you always had kind of that competition, but then the 90s kind of changed some stuff, didn't it?
Yeah, the 90s changed a little bit. That's when you started to have more premiere television, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
stuff like The Sopranos and
Mm-hmm.
your HBO shows. You started to have shows like The X-Files, like Buffy, shows
Mm-hmm.
where like a more coherent continuity was adhered to. Because like like before that, you'd have like a 22 show season, but like MacGyver, for example, is just like it's 22 bottle episodes basically.
Yeah.
Like there's some strong point, like the A Team is the same way. Like there's like they go from point A to point B. There's no like overarching plot that like
There's no mythology.
yeah, there's no mythology to it, and it's like they're very just singular things. And it's like, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Sometimes they might make a callback or characters will reoccur, obviously.
Yeah.
But largely there's like a reset button hit on a lot of shows between each episode. Sitcoms are notorious for this. Like each
Oh
episode
yeah.
is just a whole new continuity. And very rarely do they start refer like Friends, I think is the only one that or the first one that I can really remember that started to have like a long. No, Cheers did it first, really.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. You had continuity and side characters and relationships and changes in relationships over here. So yeah,
yeah,
Cheers definitely had much. It kind of developed that a lot more. I think. Yeah,
yeah. I Love Lucy had like a loose continuity to it, but
yeah.
that was only having to do with like the different stages of the couple's relationship. It wasn't like they were
Well,
moving towards a goal in the show. It just changed season to season.
yeah. I mean,
Uh,
granted, you had a lot of the great Norman Lear shows like Your All in the Families and Sanford and Sons, things like that, that did have some important moments, or they would have evolution of characters. But yeah,
yeah,
they really didn't have like a hardcore like, oh, you can't miss the previous episode of Sanford and Son because you won't know what the hell's going on in the next episode. There wasn't that
right,
sort of thing like that.
yeah.
Yeah.
And but premium television shows up, quote unquote premium television, and The Sopranos is starting to tell more mature stories. There's more
Mm-hmm.
language. The aspect ratio is more. They're paying attention to more how it's filmed. It's no longer just they're getting shots done. They're trying to like make you feel something with each episode. It's like
Yeah.
basically it tries to be an hour-long movie.
Yeah.
And other shows start to do this, and then like they start like Buffy is and the X-Files are two examples of shows that really start to take their mythology seriously. And like, go ahead,
Oh yeah,
you
I
want
was,
to.
and one other show I can't forget that it was a huge event show when it was out, and definitely was unlike anything you saw on television. Huge mythology. Got to mention Twin Peaks. Definitely got to mention Twin Peaks
Oh
there.
yeah, Twin Peaks is the granddaddy of that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Talk about a
that was
show that
that really kind of changed the game. Yeah.
that one. I gotta backtrack. Twin Peaks was the first show that like really started to have its own episodic continuity, where
Hmm.
one episode's events would directly affect the next ones and on down the line.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
well, you're dealing with a murder mystery, so yeah, it was like you had to, each week there was something new going on or some new level to the mystery unfolding. So
Yeah.
yeah, there was some important stuff. And so I mean, and again, there was. I mean, and the weird thing was too, like you know, everybody kind of watched Twin Peaks. Like, the cool kids watch Twin Peaks and your artsy kind of people. But then
Yeah.
your mom would also watch Twin Peaks because
Yeah.
it had that kind of appeal to it. So it was like, and it's like, this is a really weird show, and it gets weirder as it goes on.
It's like, yeah, especially like, so like, yeah, at least if you've never seen Twin Peaks and you don't know anything about it, it's a murder mystery about who killed Laura Palmer, and it
Yeah,
starts like in the first 5 minutes of the show, and all the whole wrapped in plastic scene. That was, yeah, that intro. But at least watch that first season,
yeah.
because like the first season is one of the best things that's ever aired on television, as far as I'm concerned. The
Hmm.
second season, kind of, there's a studio politics that goes along, so the first half's a little wonky. The second half gets good weird again in a Lynchian
Hmm.
way.
Yeah,
But yeah, like, man, Kyle MacLachlan, like, in there as Agent Cooper,
yeah.
is,
Definitely one of his
dude,
best
yeah.
roles.
And the residents of Twin Peaks, man, that's why you got to watch it, because it's like you don't know what's going on. I will say this though, never watch the film, the Fire Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, the prequel
Hmm.
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah, the number one, because it tells you the story of the TV show, so you know the mystery. Don't watch it first.
yeah, yeah. No,
Also,
yeah.
don't watch it as a date movie, expecting to be making out with your date at any point during it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, no,
Yeah,
no. Yeah,
I
Twin
don't know.
Peaks Fire Walkway is not a date movie
I
unless you know they're already a Twin Peaks fan.
Well, see, we she was, right? Like, Twin Peaks was one of the things we talked about, right? But then, like, yeah, but no, I mean, you got to remember though, Fire Walk with Me got real weird real quick,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
Mm-hmm.
like,
And maybe
oh,
not, I wouldn't even say graphic in the gory sense, but the graphic implications
yeah, it was
throughout the movie. Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
I think that the only way that it would have been more uncomfortable watching this as a date movie would it be like if I were to have sprung a Cronenberg film on someone, one of the body horror like Videodrome. Like, if I would have tried Videodrome as a date movie, that would be about the equivalent of
Or hey,
this.
hey, hey, honey, you like horror movies? Let's watch I Spit on Your Grave.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. This is a real good
Oh,
feel good female empowerment movie. Let's enjoy it. Which I do think it is, but like, it's, yeah,
it's
not a
it's
movie that
it,
you watch as a
it's
date film.
it's sort of a female empowerment movie. Yeah, they take she takes the power back, but at what cost?
Oh,
Oh, but
yeah,
yeah, so but yeah, like, so, but yeah, that was again, yeah, kind of going into the history. Yeah, film and TV was always the perception that TV was the lesser thing, and then yeah, you start getting some event series, some preview TV that starts changing things. But then I think really like you get the combination of like your HBO, with like Sopranos, Sex and the City was their really big shows there. Of course, you had like Deadwood was also a really good one there, but like
yeah.
the big tent poles were Sopranos, Sex and the City. But then, like on network television, you have like the J.J. Abrams stuff with like Alias and then later Lost. And like, holy crap, everybody's
Oh
watching
yeah.
Lost. Everybody's talking about Lost. Lost looks like a movie that's on TV every week. Even like, we kind of spoke about this in our, discussion kind of warming up to this. Like, your aspect ratio for how things were shown on TV versus movies also changes.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, around I think it was 2005, 2006, a lot of TV shows started to be broadcast in widescreen,
Mm-hmm.
because the aspect ratio change, or the digital compliance thing changed with over the air antenna signal, so all TVs have to have the digital receiver now.
Yep.
But yeah, that broadcast aspect ratio changed to accommodate the rectangular television sets, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to the square ones.
Yep.
And so things started to have more of a cinematic look, and Lost definitely benefited from that, Well,
Mhm.
plus like Lost was J.J. Abrams was coming off of what he had just directed something too, didn't he? Was it the
Well, no,
first?
basically, Alias was a popular show, and he ended Alias, and then Lost was his follow up show. It was during Lost is when he got Star Trek.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
But
yeah,
yeah,
basically,
he was white hot for a minute, and yeah,
yes, yeah,
yeah,
he was white hot. Basically, he was white hot on TV, and then he moves up to movies
yeah,
because I think it was like during season 3 or 4. There was a couple of seasons where the main audience kind of starts dwindling away, and you start kind of weeding down the more hardcore viewers because the show starts getting a little weird. And I think those were some of the seasons that JJ was away because he was basically doing the first Star Trek movie.
yeah. Yeah, because I thought it tapered off around season 5 or season 6. I didn't make it all the way to the end. I still to this day have not seen the entire series of Lost. But
The ending is disappointing.
that's what I've heard. And
Yep.
I just, I
And,
got no reason to. I enjoyed my time with it while I had it. I enjoyed playing the whole whodunit game, and I'm
well,
happy to just let it linger.
I liked when season 3 and 4 started getting a little weird, and you're starting to deal with like basically, the not necessarily time travel, but how like things are connected, or one thing sort of leads to another, or you can't have one thing without another, sort of thing like that. And of course, there was one character who did kind of like keep popping. He's almost kind of like Pariah in Crisis on Infinite Earths, where he keeps kind of witnessing the multiverse or kind of witnessing different events happening. And, he keeps moving around, but he has to have a constant. And the constant was that his girlfriend, this is the Desmond character, and so his girlfriend Penny, who he was searching for, and then finally finds, and when he finds her, that's when he stops traveling. That's when basically
Right.
he stops shifting out. So he found his constant, and she stabilized him, and there you go. But that's an episode of TV in like the last probably 25 years that made me cry when I saw it, because it's like this. I mean, it's one of those things like you. This is a character that you fell in love with, and this relationship of him trying to get to his beloved, this builds and builds and builds and builds. And when it finally happens, you finally get the payoff. It's just like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's well done. There's still a little bit of a kick in the pants, but it's still very well done. But yeah, so yeah, you start, like it's definitely in the 2000s when you get the digital changeover from analog to digital that we're in now, and aspect ratios change. Like you said, they're fitting more for the rectangular televisions. And then now it's like, yeah, people aren't going to the movies as much. Cinema box offices are down because people are staying home, or they're just waiting for, nowadays they're waiting for the movie to come to streaming because it's cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, and it's like I'm not a theater apologist by any stretch of the imagination. I'd much rather, get the movie at home and watch it at my leisure and be happy to pause it, and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. The thing that bothers me now though about a lot of like, and I don't watch a lot of episodic television, like, because I think it's all like it's all derivative. Like if it's not like an NCIS clone or a police procedural, like very little of it's interesting. Fox will come up with something interesting from time to time. Like
Mm-hmm.
they'll come up with batshit ideas, like, what if Ichabod Crane, like woke up today and started solving mysteries in modern day Massachusetts? Let's
Yeah,
see what happens.
yeah,
Yeah, and
Sleepy
it's like,
Hollow. That was a fun
yeah,
show.
and I'm
Yeah,
like, all right, like Fringe was another one that was like, dude,
Fringe.
I loved Fringe, man. Like that show is a show that it's like you talk it like it's a different show every season for one thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
the same
Yeah,
characters are still there in the cat like it does, but like it's like probably one of the best pieces of science fiction that I've ever seen.
yeah,
And it's just like Fox will take some chances with the show from
yeah.
time to
And Fringe
time.
is also another J.J. Abrams show too, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Yep.
Uh Joshua Jackson in that, and what's his name from the old
Oh,
guy,
oh yeah, Walter. Yeah,
Walter, yeah, and
yeah,
Olivia, yeah, the whole, yeah, all three of them. Yeah, Fringe is a
yeah,
great show.
yeah. Great show. Yeah. So I agree.
Yeah,
That was very well. So yeah, you get some good episode like Grimm over on NBC. I thought was a fun show.
yeah,
Hannibal. Oh my God,
Oh, dude,
Hannibal!
Hannibal. Yeah, I loved Hannibal. That was
How
yeah.
that entire series got away? Like, okay, granted, it would air 9, 10 o'clock at night, but it's a network television show that was one of the classiest yet goriest shows you'll ever see
I
on network television.
I was super surprised at the amount of gore that they were allowed to show on Hannibal. And
Yeah.
it was quite impressive with that.
I mean,
Uh
because basically, the one of the killers that they're following, his whole thing was like building art structures with bodies, and so you would get like, or you would get like, someone like basically their parts and everything all strung out, representing a tree.
yeah.
Kind of, but like, and like, oh yeah, so they have branches for arms, but it's because you basically quartered their hand in 6 places. So it's yeah, again, just like, and they would show this in graphic detail too on the show too. It's
It
like,
was on par with True Detective season 1 stuff. Like,
mm-hmm,
well, I would put it up there with it, because and yeah, it was yeah, Hannibal was some shocking network TV shit. They
yeah,
surprised the hell out of me with that one.
yeah,
But yeah, but all these shows we're talking about compared to like a lot of shows now, like
mm-hmm,
especially on premium streaming services, I
yeah,
think that what bugs me the most about them is that they all have this like every episode. They are like I say all they are. They're more than this, but they are they're just basically 6 hour movies, 6 to 8 hour movies,
yeah,
right? Like you can't just watch the third episode of the second season and have it be like a story, in and of
yeah,
itself.
exactly,
It'll be a chapter of a longer story.
yeah,
Uh, I
exactly.
noticed this watching when I've been watching that show Warrior that's on Netflix, the
Oh
Bruce
yeah, yeah,
Lee
yeah, yeah.
martial arts story. So in the
Mhm.
first season, there's like I would love it if somebody ever did. It's like the seventh episode of the first season. Like, is this you can watch this episode being so deep in the season, learn everything you need to know about the series, and have it be one of the best episodes of television you've ever seen, like
Yeah,
all in one, and tell you exactly what it needs without ever watching any of the rest of it. It's a bottle episode, right?
yeah,
And
okay,
so few shows ever have bottle episodes anymore that just let you just vibe with the characters for a period of time.
hmm,
Like, and not even necessarily in like a season long adventure or anything, but like, just like what happens, if like, they have a bad day or something like that, like you don't get those opportunities in these like shorter, 8 to 10 episode seasons that have like, a big story that they have to get to, that they have to go through. And that's what bugs me, I think, is like
hmm.
it's a 10 chapter movie and not 10 episodes of a TV show.
Exactly, because yeah, that was much more symptomatic in especially your 50s through even the 80s. Your sitcoms, your dramatic shows, your action shows, or whatever else. That yeah, you could kind of almost, if you knew what the setup was, you can go almost into any episode and be fine.
Right.
Um, the last time maybe you could do that with like The Office and Parks and Recreation, Community, some of those shows like that. Sunny, you can kind of do that with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's still some
Yeah,
sitcoms you
there's
can
still
sort of.
Sunny you can do that. You can just pick a random episode and drop into it. It's
Uh,
like I know that there's like there's beats that carry on, like there's a continuity to the show, like cricket. Every injury carries through. And that's a fun gimmick. But yeah, it's like you don't need to know, like if you like if you catch the episode where like he's half burned, you're not
yeah,
missing out on anything by not knowing how he got that way.
right,
But
yeah.
yeah.
But I say you talk about bubble episodes. I think one really good. Yeah, this isn't recent because it's probably like 4 or 5, actually probably 6 years old now. Was the Supernatural episode where they cross over with Scooby Doo? I think
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a great. Like, if you've never watched like if you know, so obviously everybody knows what the hell Scooby Doo is. But if you've never seen an episode of Supernatural, but you kind of know what the show is or whatever else, even if you don't, it gives a perfectly good explanation of who these guys are, and then you introduce them into the Scooby Doo world, and it all goes from there.
Yeah.
And it kind of plays on a lot of the jokes we all know from Scooby Doo, or a lot of the stuff like, oh, well, like, why wasn't Fred trying to hit on Daphne, or what, was Shaggy and Scooby stoners, or stuff like that. So the questions
Yeah.
we always ask ourselves, the Supernatural episode, it kind of answers some of those. So, but
Yeah.
that's a great bottle episode of, like, it doesn't necessarily connect to the rest of the Supernatural continuity. All you got to know is that Dean, Sam and Dean both grew up with Scooby Doo, but Dean loves him
Yeah.
some Scooby Doo.
It's his jam, and it's a fun episode too because
Mm-hmm.
you got to remember too, every episode of Scooby Doo, there's never a real ghost, right? But like
Oh,
in the supernatural, supernatural land, ghosts and demons and shit very much real.
no.
So the
Mm-hmm.
Scooby Gang has to come to terms with they're dealing with real shit. And
Yeah.
Sam and Dean are trying to make sure that it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a great 42 minutes of television.
Yeah. It
Sam,
absolutely
Dean, and
is.
Castiel, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oh,
I remember we got to talk about that episode on the old
the
Fanatic Forum, yeah, the
yeah, the Fanatic
previous
Forum. Yeah.
iteration, yeah.
For
I
the yeah yeah
yeah,
the CW version of it. So yeah, that was good times. But
yeah,
kind of, we've been talking about, a lot of kind of the changes with TV and movies themselves, of course, like, talked initially about that, it was more, dressing up, you went to the things, or like you would have like the big event films, like your 10 Commandments, your Ben-Hur, your Gone with
yeah,
the Wind. Like, there would be an intermission in the film where you got a chance to go, like, get some more popcorn or go take a pee or something like that. So that was, an event thing too. And you still, even in the 80s, you still had movies that still felt like events, and big things like, your Star Wars movies, or Raiders of the Lost Ark, or ET, or
yeah,
eventually, when Back to the Future ended up blowing up, then okay, everybody, Back to the Future is a big thing, stuff like that. But you kind of started going out of, like, you still had plenty of your genre movies, your big, franchise things coming out in the 90s and the 2000s, but it didn't feel like there were as many, like, everybody's got to go see this movie. Like, you would have, like, Titanic was one of those. Twister in the 90s definitely was two of those
Jurassic
movies.
Park, yeah,
Yeah, Jurassic Park. But yeah, it started as the 80s went away, and the 90s, the 2000s, the next century started coming on. You had less of those movies where it was like everybody's coming out to see this thing. You could talk at the water cooler the next Monday morning after the weekend, and because everybody went out to see that big movie,
yeah,
you got less and less of that. Or you had people like, well, I'll wait for it to come on cable, or then later on, I'll wait for it to come on streaming,
yeah,
or I'll wait for it to come out on DVD or VHS, or whatever format like that. So, because basically, you know, whatever reasons for inflation, whether it be the budgets got bigger, the salaries got bigger, whatever else, going to the movies started getting much more expensive.
yeah. And that's the thing that sucks about it is because and it's the concessions that kill like the whole deal. Well, and it's like the ticket prices too, really. Like, you know,
Yeah,
I I got no problem with paying $10 for a movie ticket, at this point, but
yeah,
anything really more than that, I feel is kind of gouging me, even though I feel, I'll still pay it.
yeah,
But yeah, the concessions themselves, like I know that's how the theaters make their money, but yeah, it's like that's also why I don't go to the theater that often.
yeah.
Uh, and it's like I don't want to be the guy that sneaks shit in. It's like I've done it before, but it's like, I do, it's like I at least want to get a drink or something while I'm there because, like, yeah, I'm just gonna yeah.
I know.
I,
Yeah.
I don't like it. I'd rather watch movies at home.
Well, and this it's the snake that's eating itself, essentially, in this case, because yeah, you've got, the ticket prices have gone up, but then, like, well, the movie theaters themselves, like, movie theaters, if you've never worked in the movie theater, business or anything like that, movie theaters make their monies on concessions. They essentially, they're renting the movies from the studios. They have to pay a certain fee to the movie to show, or to the studios to show that film.
Yeah.
So then basically the ticket prices are them trying to recoup their losses for showing this movie, and the concession, basically sales help add on to that recouping of losses. And this essentially happens every single week.
Yeah.
So new movies come out, it's a new loss of money until you can make it back, whatever else. So, when basically, if a movie doesn't do well, then the theater doesn't do well because this movie they spent money on, for whatever reason. So then that's why you're starting getting like, a lot of theaters shutting down, or like bigger theaters shutting down and having smaller theaters or more privately owned theaters that basically say like, because it used to be kind of like you had kind of a little bit of kind of like, okay, we'll give you this big movie that's going to be coming out in the summer, but you have to show this movie in the winter time or in the springtime that we don't have as much faith in, but we want to kind of still push this movie a little bit because we put some kind of money or some kind of finance, some kind of resources into it. So it's like, so like a really good example, Star Wars. So Star Wars comes out in 1977. 20th Century Fox does not have a lot of faith in it whatsoever, but they think there's a little bit of buzz around it. They maybe might make some money off of this, but there was a Oscar bait movie that I can't even remember the name of it. It's like a dramatic movie comes out, and they want to put that out in the later on in the summer, like it's coming out like in like July or August. And they thought this was going to be their big movie of the year. Star Wars comes in and fucking dominates. Like like that and Smokey and the Bandit in 1977 were the movies that everybody went to see multiple times. Like,
right,
I'm going to do. Want to go see Smokey? Want to go see Star Wars? Boom. That was it. So like or like you would have a competition with your friends. Well, how many times have you seen Star Wars? I've seen it 10 times. Well, I've seen it 15 times. Stuff like that.
Right.
So that's kind of what that movie ended up becoming. And then the Oscar bait movie that I can't remember the fucking name to is lost to history.
Right. Never became anything.
Never became anything. I seem to remember like it had a named director and a few named stars in it, but it's love and feelings versus laser swords and spaceships. So you know what I'm going for.
Right, exactly.
Screw that feelings. I want swords.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so you started getting, you had a lot of that sort of thing like that, but then with more independent theaters, with more family owned, privately owned theaters where they're not part of any sort of corporation, you got a little more independence because it's like, okay, you want us to show this movie, but we also have options of other films here, or we've got, you get like sometimes you get more of like the religious films that have a short theatrical run or exclusive runs, or you have certain independently made films that have exclusive runs, or even you have like the not Fandango, but basically the kind of the nationwide sort of thing is like where they would show like they'll have like some older movies you can show or like a concert or
Fathom events kind of deal.
Yeah, Fathom. Thank you, Fathom. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Where like they'll show that sort of thing like that. Hey, Martin's in the house. What is going on, sir? Screw that work, man. I tell you what, you can't come hang out and talk geek stuff with your friends here. So
exactly.
Good
we'll probably wrap it up here in a minute anyway.
Yeah, so you've probably caught us right at the end here, but yeah. But yeah, so you started, like I said, that sort of changed the perspective of showing movies, and of course now it's the technology is completely different. Like when I worked movie theaters, it was the platter system. We were still dealing with film. You would splice the film together. You had projections that kept an eye on things because if something got off balance and you started getting film thrown around, you had a mess, and it was and right. you had angry patrons who weren't watching their movie anymore, sort of stuff like that. Now it's all digital and computers. You are downloading movies onto a server from another server that's protected, and that's it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, that kind of bothers me about theaters now. Like, it's before when it was 35 millimeter, like, you don't get that experience at home, right? Like,
right.
It's you get like, you get a VHS experience, you get an over the air experience, you get a DVD experience. 4K is about the closest you get to a 35 millimeter experience
Mm-hmm.
on some prints, and not even all of them are like that. But yeah, now like digital projection is just digital projection. It's the same 4K print that's going to be used for the DVD and Blu-ray master, and
Mm-hmm.
it's an experience that you can replicate at home, especially with any mid-range sound equipment, and a mid-budget, even a low-budget HD TV at this point, really,
I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I've got a nice large television I got from Walmart and a sound bar that my mother and father-in-law gave us because they have it and they didn't use it, so they just gave it to us.
yeah.
So, and I have a cinematic experience at home. So yeah,
Right, yeah. Screens is cheap at home anymore, y'all, because it's like I'm seriously considering, like, one of my upcoming expenses, I believe, might be a new television for the living room.
all right on,
Because
yeah.
I'm thinking that it's like I've got a 55 in there now, and
Mm-hmm.
just the prices to go up to like 65 or 70, like, you can, like, especially around Black Friday, like, I could probably upgrade to a 75-inch for under $500, and like,
Sweet.
yeah, I'm kind of thinking about it, but yeah.
Nice. Oh, Martin's asked. He says he's going to rewatch the show now. Anything planned for Christmas? Shadowrun? Christmas?
Oh, geez.
Dude, I'm getting prepped for Thanksgiving, man.
Right. Yeah.
Let's not put the cart before the horse. But yeah, you know what? Yeah, we need to brush up on some Shadowrun or something like that. Maybe make Martin a little happy there. Do some Shadowrun
Yeah.
fun there.
We
So.
should. Yeah. We got to do something with Shadowrun
Oh,
for
Seth
Christmas.
owes us a game. Chris is a good time to come clear with yourself and the Lord, Seth.
Oh, wow.
Threaten
He's trying to lay some good old fashioned Christian guilt on me.
Christian
Oh,
guilt to
man.
play
Wow.
Shadowrun. What? That's
Yeah.
a new tactic there.
Dang. Wow.
Oh, love it. I love it. Oh, yeah. We're more concerned about, like, we're working up to Thanksgiving. And the funny thing is too, it's like I haven't thought of, like, if we're gonna take off, Black Friday, we're gonna have a show. It's like because, like, we'll see each other on Thanksgiving anyway because you're coming over to the house, But
Right.
it's like we're gonna do a podcast that day. I don't know. We may take off. We don't. We'll think about it.
Yeah.
We
We'll
still got
wing it. Yeah.
2 weeks.
We got time. Yeah.
Yeah, we get 2 weeks. So, but we need to do another wrestling episode soon because
Yeah, we do. Yeah, because we
I
got to
did
finish
notice that.
Survivor Series at least.
You know what I wouldn't mind doing is doing a rewatch of an old Survivor Series because
Okay.
our rewatch of the AWA Super Clash was very popular. So I wouldn't mind doing a rewatch of an old Survivor Series episode.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll go over them and we'll pick one and we'll announce it. Yeah.
Well, of course, like,
That's
there's a couple of famous ones. I would like to stick in the early years where it was still like the Survivor Series style match. Like I don't want to do like Montreal Screwjob or anything like that kind of bullshit.
right.
But like like of the traditional ones, like the 1990 is the most infamous because that's the debut of the Undertaker.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
and
yeah.
then the 1991 I think is the first time we actually have a world title match that's the main event. So it's either 91 or 92. Like it's one of those, like, they break the tradition of all the traditional Survivor Series matches and like a world title match is the main event as opposed to like doing a Survivors match as the main event. So
Yeah.
oh, and Martin says sorry, but he had to try.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah.
What if we do Survivor Series 3 with the main event of the Heenan family, Bobby, Andre, Arn, and Haku versus the Ultimate Warriors. The Ultimate Warrior, Jim Neidhart, Marty Jannetty, and Shawn Michaels.
Let's do it.
All right, Survivor Series 3. We're going to
Yep.
do a rewatch of it.
So was that? Let's see. Because was the first one 88 or 89?
The third one here is 89.
Okay, so so 87 was the first one. 87, 89.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because it was the second one. The SummerSlam was next in '88, so that's right. Okay, yeah, all right.
Oh damn!
All
Yeah,
right.
we got a bunch of Survivor. Yeah, this one's full Survivor Series matches. I will not read all of the names on it just for it to continue to be a surprise. But yeah,
All right. So is that what we're going to do next week, or you want to do that in 2 weeks?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I can do that next week.
All right, let's do it next week. All right, so there you go. Survivor Series 89 rewatch next week, folks. That's what we're going to be doing.
Teams of 5 fight to
there
stay
you go.
alive.
That appeases Martin. So there we go.
Okay, cool. Well, yeah, we'll do a special Shadowrun episode. Yeah.
Yep. So there you go. Yeah. So it's been, no. Next week we're going to talk about Survivor Series 89. We're going to do a rewatch of that.
Yes. Yeah.
But yes, we will have to do a Shadowrun. I'm gonna have to brush up my Shadowrun too. Like I said, it's been a long time since I played it, but I did enjoy the game when I did play it. But yeah. Yeah. I said I could do a much more extensive show on riffs. So
oh yeah. Oh, that was
some good stuff.
system too.
All right. Well, it is that time for us to wrap up here. So we got dogs to feed and tummies to fill and all kinds of stuff like that. And hopefully Mox is not annoying Kenzie too much right now.
He is actually laying here peacefully. So
good boy.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's being a good boy right now.
Oh. Well, awesome. Well, awesome. Thank you guys very much for having us out here. Good show here. So thank you, Martin, Bradley, Ron, for coming in here tonight. And, of course, one more time, got to thank my buddy Alejandro as well here.
Yes. That is super cool. That is awesome. We got one more comment up in here before we wrap.
Steve says he's late.
Steve, what up?
What's up, bitches? Yeah, you're literally catching us at the end of the show, man. We're saying goodnight.
Yeah, so. We appreciate you saying hello, brother.
Yeah, hugs you too, brother. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Martin.
So thank you guys for checking us out tonight here. Definitely like us, share us with your friends, share us with people you don't even know. Just spread the word here because we are the place for geeks and just to talk geek shop, whatever else. So thank you guys for coming out, and we will see you all next week here on the Fanatic Forum. But of course, we're going to leave you with a little word from our friends at Comic Books for Kids. So have a good one. TTFN.
My name is Mark Weiss, and I am the founder and president of an organization called Comic Books for Kids. 6 years ago this month, we embarked on a journey of passion and heart. Our goal was to make a difference for children in hospitals and cancer centers. Little could we have ever imagined the response we have now. Starting with just hopes and dreams, we had no money for our mission. We had no product to give to the hospitals, and we had only called a couple hospitals and asked them, if we were to provide you with comic books, would you be interested? And they said yes. So we embarked on a 1-year journey to make a difference for these kids. We realized that even though we can't take away the reason these children are in hospitals, we can perhaps, while they are there, let them fly like a superhero, be princes and princesses, and embark on a mystical and magical journey to take them away from where they are in that hospital bed. Today, and thanks to your support, we are thrilled to say that we are now the largest charity in the U.S., supporting well over 200 hospitals in all 50 states for not only comic books, but for other pop culture items like Funko Pops, action figures, coloring books, Spanish bilingual items, backpacks, and more. When we received materials that were inappropriate for the young ones, we started a sister charity called Comic Book for Troops, and overnight, we became the largest charity in the U.S. for these same items to all branches of the military. We want to thank our friends for providing us their support and for allowing us the means to make so many happy with their gracious give to us.